Welcome back. We've had a restart here with Greg Biffle and Michael Waltrip reviewing the Coke 600. The restart came with 88.5 miles to go. Most of the favorites are going to need some fuel. Let's go ahead and drop the rag and get this thing started for what did prove to be the final restart.
There's Casey in second.
Yeah, very fast, very strong.
The 20 was in a league of his own at this point.
How did he get
Yaley in 8th. Kyle Petty in 9th. Riding with Kyle there.
He's got Coke Zero on his car. That's a pretty car.
It was a cool looking car.
And look who's on the move. That's
JJ.
the 4th spot. So do you come out of the pits at that point knowing, I mean, are you committed to your strategy? Have you rolled the dice? Did Grubb and Darian Grubb, the crew chief, and the driver Casey Mears know at that point, okay, we just got to make it?
I don't think so. I think that you got to think there's going to be a caution in the last 50-some laps of the race. I mean, you almost bet that there's going to be a caution.
Yeah.
The way the race has gone, especially in the last little bit of the 600-mile race. Maybe an engine, something.
What I didn't understand, though, and I never understand it, he had a 7 or 8 second lead. With 5 to go, I would have calculated that out to where I didn't have I had a car length lead and saved that fuel. But then there's also the line of thinking that says go real fast, and so when you run out, you can coast further.
You can coast further.
So you could have slowed down and sped up on the white flag lap.
Yeah, that's right. You could have finally just saved all your gas for the last lap.
Yeah.
But he ran out when he took the checker, and he had a 6 second lead. So it's just, you're darned if you do and darned if you don't in this business, you know?
It worked out. That's
it worked
the bottom
out.
line.
It was so cool to see it work out, too. I like seeing that every now and then.
Pretty obvious that the answer to the whole fuel mileage question was going to be the Enterprise turning point of the race. So let's go to 20 to go. That's when the leaders will start to pit.
And I'm
first to peel off.
And I'm surprised this didn't work out better for Matt. That just goes to show you that the tires, or maybe Matt's car, wasn't as good.
Yeah, you think you get too tired with 20 to go, you're going to outrun a lot of people to the checker, but it didn't work.
Didn't work out.
Earnhardt goes in, Mears stays out, and here's Stewart's call.
Our 2 laps short, Smoke. I think it's too much to risk here. Everybody has to pit. I just want to make sure I get going here. I want to make sure we have plenty of buffer.
Yep. It's easy to say, well, Mears isn't in the championship, so he didn't have anything to lose by going for it, but that's really not the case, is it?
I don't know.
At where it was in the point.
I mean, you look at his position. I mean, I don't know if he started slowing down toward the end of that run, but a lot of guys passed him. We saw the 8 passing him right there, and then I think Matt passed him. I think he'd fallen back to 4th. I don't know if his car was falling off a little bit, or was he slowing down, saving fuel at that point.
But in terms of owners' points, going into the race, he was sitting at 35.
Right. And now he's shot all the way up to 29, and his life is good today.
But had he sputtered at the white flag and gone the other way,
he would be 36.
Qualifying at Dover and thinking...
Those Budweisers he's having with Dale Jr. today wouldn't be so tasty.
That's right.
So once again, it just all worked out.
Yep.
Isn't that fun when it all works out?
They must have felt fairly confident that they were going to at least make the white flag lap. And if they ran out, let's face it, if they ran out on the white flag lap, his worst finish would have been 15th.
Yeah.
Because there's only 15 cars on the lead lap.
Right.
Yeah. So if you know you can make the white, go for it.
Didn't we see Tony Stewart run out on the last lap and coast all the way around and win?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a margin of error there that you can work with a little
Absolutely.
bit.
If you have a big lead, because you kept the... Well, that's over that.
We can't understand that. But let me tell you what they said on TV, which was crazy interesting to me. 400.5. That's how many laps.
I thought it was 400.2.
I heard 5 too. Who cares? That's how many laps they said he's going to be able to make it. And in the history of the world, they ain't never got that right.
Right.
I mean, they've never got it.
Last night.
And last night it worked perfect.
Now, think about this, conspiracy theorists. A caution with 17 to go. How much would that have helped Jimmy Johnson? And so, with 17 to go, look what happens.
Oh, I just knew it was going to be a caution.
So did I.
And I didn't want to see it. Sometimes a caution is necessary. Like in the middle of the race, when ain't really going to affect anything, I like a good caution every now and then.
Yeah, we know you do.
But at this point, I got to see what's happening.
So for the newcomers who assume, by the way, this would be Johnson, I think, with 9 to go. Stewart and Earnhardt with 7 to go. There was no caution, so these are green flag pit stops. And again, for the newcomers who assume that every blown motor is a caution, why is that not true?
No oil.
Well, yeah, I mean, normally what happens, they'll burn a piston and it'll smoke a bunch out the tailpipe, but doesn't mean it's putting fluid down. The engine that comes out the bottom, has water and oil everywhere. And an engine that burns a piston just, puts some smoke out the pipes.
And people talking about Toyotas right quick would say, well, Dale Jarrett blew, Jeremy blew, the two of the motors that made the race or got toward the end of the race broke. What are y'all going to do now? But if you watch Jeremy Mayfield spin on the straightaway, that'll blow a motor every now and then.
Yep.
When you turn that car back and forth and that motor's, the tires are turning the engine over backwards, it'll bend valves, it'll break a motor. So we'll have to study what happened to Dale's motor and what happened to Jeremy's motor. But I think they felt pretty good that they got one all 600 miles. That'll give them one to tear apart that ain't all to pieces and be able to see what that looked like.
Post-mortem on it. So with the last 59 laps run under green, it was a great night to be able to run 59 laps under green. Nextel getting it done. Call the race. Darian Grubb giving Casey Mears the green light. Gamble on the fuel. Go for the win. He does. They do. And then they talk on the radio.
That's okay.
Yeah. Unbelievable job, guys. Unbelievable job.
There was no doubt it was coming.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been ironic, though, had the caution fallen late? Because he had the race one last fall at Homestead, or a couple falls ago.
Yeah.
And a caution came out late, and everybody's like, why was that caught? What did that caution do? Why did they have that caution?
Yeah.
And then last night, he was able to race all the way to the end without a caution and win his first race.
Yeah.
Results? I think so. Let's take a look at, well, who picked Mears, Yaley, and Petty in the trifecta? Wasn't me.
I had them, but I didn't have them in that order.
Kyle's first top 5 in 10 years. Pretty remarkable.
Reed made it, obviously, on fuel in the 4th.
Vickers, as noted, overcoming a lot of
Ricky
problems
Rudd
for
got
that top
7th.
5.
Dave Blaney was in that crash right behind me. Now look at Blaney's car, Greg.
Edwards rebounding from
Top
the
20.
flat tire, spins, wreck, etc. Harvick got involved in the big one.
Some races you can run all night long and be 2 laps down and finish 25th. Jeremy blew up and he finished 25th.
Allmendinger, 31st, another Toyota.
I don't know if we're going to get back far enough to see me.
Well, David Reagan may deserve a call. He was doing he had a solid top 10 having
Yes, he
driven
did.
from back in the field going when he was involved in that wreck that was not his fault.
There I am.
And with that, we probably need a commercial break. Yeah. We'll take another look at this and discuss all those emails you've been sending us. And how about Jeff Gordon making the birth of his first child a priority over points? Let us review the championship points and Jeff Gordon's diminished lead. That's even diminished. That's still a pretty nice.
Well,
Not looking too bad.
Let me explain something to you. He's got 601 points to stumble into the chase with.
Yeah.
That's huge, pal.
Pretty safe. He's going to be in there.
I think you can go ahead and write his number down, Dave.
We'll go ahead and do that. J.J. Yaley with a big jump, gaining 5, equaling Ryan Newman's big tumble, losing 5 with the blown motor.
Look at those Dodges all globbed together, led by Bobby Labonte.
Further back, 32nd place. No relief for Casey Kane's misery, it seems. And I guess on the subject of points, let's go into our Z-Max fuel for thought for tonight and delve deeper into the question of Jeff Gordon's situation. He won't accumulate any points if he misses a race due to the birth of his child. Do you think he would do this if he didn't have such a big points lead? Dave Thigpen wants to know. Jeff has said that he'll have Mark Martin standing by for the Sonoma race, Infineon race, if need be, if the birth takes place that weekend. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
I'm thinking that Mark Martin is really, really hoping that she has that baby on that weekend.
He'd like
So he can drive that 24
He'd
car.
like to drive that 24 car.
I thought with the modern medicine, you could pretty much have them whenever you wanted.
You're being a skeptic.
No, I'm asking a question.
Well, I don't know anything about that sort of thing.
You don't know how to induce labor?
Our kids all have 4 legs, so I can't. But
no,
yeah, I mean,
I think it's a pretty safe bet. Jeff Gordon won't miss a race, but I hope it works out to where he can have the baby on a Monday and spend the week with his wife and his new baby, and then fly off to California and race. But what would be cool if he would show up Sunday morning and race. That'd be a good story.
As for the guy's point, though, would he do this if he didn't have the big point lead? Who knows?
Let's wait and see if he does it anyway first before we try to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead, let's move on to a subject guaranteed to make Michael crazy. The volume of emails demanding attention to the conspiracy theorists. When Jimmy Johnson pitted and had trouble with his left side lug nuts, he stopped outside of his pit. Is this not a penalty? Yes,
Well,
there were numerous emails to that effect. Here's how it went down.
Did those emails come to your show or this show?
Both. Both. I was absolutely not going to touch it, and I walked in, and the producer says, well, I guess we're going to have to deal with it. Here's the freeze.
I'll go out on the...
Is he out of the box?
Yes, he's out of the box. I'll go out on a limb. But all the officials are looking at the left rear tire. The lug nut is getting on there, and he stopped, and all the service was done at that point, then putting the lug nut back on, and they just missed it. I mean, it's that simple. Just because there's a rule or a penalty doesn't mean that you get that penalty every single time. It's a situation of, did they see it, and was it, you know, did he do the whole pit stop out of the box? Or,
yeah.
you know, when you're up in the air and you're out of the box and he's saying back up and the guy's already started, you can let it down and push it back and not get a penalty. So, you know, you started out of the box and then went in the box. So it's not always do you get a penalty.
I like that guy right there. He's just telling it like it is.
There you go. And on that note, having done our obligatory attention to the emails, we'll move on to survival of the fastest. Seemed like such a good idea. You know, you got your defending race winner, Casey Kane, who's having this lousy season. Let's go off and visit Evernham Motorsports as they prepare to turn their season around with another victory in the Coke 600. Here's a sample of what you'll see.
It's something about being in Charlotte when everyone gets to sleep in their own beds at night.
Something wrong with making a skydive with you without my parachute.
As a group, we all have to pull together to be strong and pull together and fix this and be strong. Hey, who's going to be the first one to shoot the gelatin?
Uh-oh.
Got to get in the top 35 where we don't have to do this every week.
Of course, Casey didn't win. Survival of the Fastest will be on Friday, June the 1st, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's interesting. It's fun to watch. We suggest you check it out. We will take a commercial break.
That's my favorite show on TV, I think.
We'll come back. Hey, it wasn't all bad for Casey. He did win the Busch race, didn't he? And then there was the truck race. Pit stops? We don't need no stinking pit stops. We'll be right back.